Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I love doing this every single year. It's kind of spooky how much of it actually comes true. Set the mood. I have a cup of tea. Once you set the mood, come on down, then we can get straight into our manifesting. Okay, so a little bit about me and my manifesting journey, in case you wanted a tiny bit of context. So I first started manifesting when I was actually a child and a teenager. And the reason for that is because my older sister got into it, and she is 7 years older than me. So when I was, I guess, 8 or 9, she was already a teenager and she got really into manifesting. But at the time it wasn't called manifesting, it was called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And Neuro-Linguistic Programming is basically training your brain to think differently, essentially. There are some really interesting books about it that I can link down below. And I remember at the time when she told me about it, I was like, that's so fascinating. And I started to use it kind of in my daily life, sort of thinking about outcomes that I wanted to happen and almost putting it out into the universe. And things do come back to you if you put them out into the universe, which is what we'll go through today. I've been doing this for a really long time before I knew it was like a thing called manifesting. I always thought of it as NLP and just something fun that like my sister told me about and I thought was like a cool thing to do. I recently found in my attic something which I wanted to show you today. This is an old sketch pad of mine, and as you'll be able to see, it says 2008. So in 2008, how old was I? So in 2008, I was 14 years old. And this was my first ever kind of manifesty vision board. But again, at the time, I didn't really know what I was doing. And it's so fascinating. I had a look through here and every single thing I've put in here has come true, which is so mental to think about. So for example, I have a photograph here of Tokyo, and my boyfriend and I, the first trip we ever did together was to Tokyo. And I always wanted to go. And in here I have so many things. I've got like old papers, cutouts of stuff, basically vision boarding before vision boarding was a thing. It's so bizarre to me. All my old birthday cards from when I was like 14 or 15. The first one was that I ended up going to Tokyo with my boyfriend and I had all these things about Japan. Then the other thing, I was obsessed with New York. I ended up moving to New York when I was 19 or 20. That came true. I've written down on a piece of paper that I wanted to buy a house before my 29th birthday. And we got the keys to this house the day before my 29th birthday, on the 18th of May last year, which is kind of crazy. And there are a few other things in here that are super spooky that I've written down that like as a 14-year-old, I was just like, oh, la 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 la, that would be really nice. Oh, in here, Lower Manhattan. We went to go visit my brother when he moved there. And I brought this home and I was like, I want to move to New York. And I started like circling all the things that I wanted to do and like where I wanted to live and blah, 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 blah. And it all came true. And here is my boarding pass from when we went to Boston, the first time I ever went to the US. And there were all these little things in here that just, I guess, stayed in my mind, but I didn't really know where they had come from. And finding this was like a gold mine, and it's so spooky to see your old self being like, I'll just put down anything just to see if it will happen, even if it's like super, super crazy. And then to see it come true is bananas. So hopefully this explains a little bit around the background of why I manifest and why I think it's a really good thing to do. First thing you want to do before you get into what your vision board is going to be is reflecting on the previous year, 2023, thinking about what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, what potentially you could have done better, and what you would have liked to have happened. And there are lots of different prompts that you can find online. I can put some on the screen now. And then you want to move on to the prompts for the year to come. So you've moved on from the reflecting side. I would pause and answer those questions for just 5 minutes and just see what comes to you, and then move on to what you want to happen this year. And I I have my little notebook for that. This is from the Peter Pauper Press. This is the Celestial Journal, and I just think it's so beautiful and pretty, and every time I look at it, I'm like, something magical is going to happen. So in here, I keep everything that I kind of dream about, so I can look through and look at my prompts from all the different years. Someone who's done some really cool work on manifesting recently is Roxy Nafouzi. You might have heard of her. She came out with the book Manifest a few years ago, and I loved that book. Reading it kind of reaffirmed everything I thought about manifesting, and it just was amazing to kind of like see it on paper and be like, okay, great, so I'm not the only one who does this. And in that book, she gives a really good example of a friend of hers who was running her own business, and Roxy said to her, okay, write down what you want for the year to come. And she wrote down, get 100 clients, crossed it out, and then put 10 clients. And Roxy asked her, why did you do that? And she said, oh, because it kind of felt too much, like too big of a dream. And she was like, no, go back and put down 100 clients. And then I think in the book it says that by the end of that year, or even like 6 months later, she got like 300 clients. So I guess the moral of that story, and I've probably butchered that story, by the way, so you're going to have to buy Manifest and like read it yourself, and I would highly recommend you do, because it's an amazing book. But the moral of that story is, when you're doing these prompts, no one's around you. Like, no one's in this room. Like, no one's going to know what I've written down in this journal. But I think allowing yourself to dream and think about what you want to achieve, kind of, if you could wave a magic wand, absolutely no limitations placed on you, what would they be? And I think that in itself is an amazing thing to do when you're working on yourself, because I think every single day we do limit ourselves and we kind of want to dream, and then we think, oh no, I can't do that. Why not? Just put it down on a piece of paper. Like, I think we think it holds so much weight, and actually when you put it down, if it makes you nervous or if it makes you excited or scared, or, you know, that's a good thing. Move towards that, because if it excites you and if it makes you feel like almost a bit like, oh, that means that it's something that you really want to achieve. And I'm constantly trying to persuade myself in life to move towards those feelings. I feel like I spent years being a bit afraid of what could happen, and then actually you do it and you're like, only good things come from this. So really go towards that feeling of, oh, if something makes you do that, write that down. That's what you need to achieve. So once you've done the prompts, we can now move on to the board. What you're going to need for the board is a pair of scissors. I have some kind of calligraphy pens in these two pots. I have like HB pencils in here and some more like little felt tips. And then in here I have the double-ended kind of calligraphy style pens that I used to use for my bullet journal. You'll also need something to cut out photographs from. I went and bought myself the latest copy of Vogue because I'm just obsessed with Vogue, and this is where I usually get my images from. But you can also use like old magazines you have around the house, or maybe you could go online or go on Pinterest. And then this is my pin board. And this pin board is usually where I plan out my videos. But what I'm going to do with this pin board now is I'm going to put it on my wall, because I have a different way now that I plan my videos. So I'm going to take off these ones and I'm going to use this pin board to stick down my images, and I'm going to have that on the wall because I think it will be more helpful than the current system I have. But if you don't want to do it on a pin board, you can also just get like a large piece of paper. I've just done that for a few years now, so I kind of wanted to try the pin board style. Great. So what I do now is I basically go through, try not to get distracted by reading all the articles, and I will go through and I will cut out everything that speaks to me, that is in alignment with my prompts and my dreams for the year ahead. So say I want to go traveling, maybe I'll find all the places here, or for example, maybe I want to go to Bali, let's just say randomly. Then I could cut out this picture of a beach, and then I could use one of my pens to write on top. So it's kind of almost like scrapbooking. So I would take a lot of time and see things that align to you. And if you can't find anything in the magazines that kind of speaks to you, then maybe you could go, as I said, online on Pinterest, print out some images, or even just Google images, and make it that way. So it's completely up to you how you want to do this. And speaking of the vision board, again, I'm using a pin board. You can use a big piece of paper. You could also make your vision board purely online. Like, you could just get a Word document or even like Canva and just pull together all the images. I've also done like a Google Slides before. It's free, and I just make like a PowerPoint of all the different things. Sometimes I've done like travel, lifestyle, love and finances. I've done like different slides. So it's whatever works for you. There is no right and wrong. The main thing is that you're honest with yourself and you dare to dream, essentially. Okay guys, it is quite a bit later. It's about 7 p.m. and I've been here for so long and it's getting a bit dark now. I just got so invested in like all the different cutouts and everything. And then I kind of changed how I wanted to do it. And there are still a few things that I want to print off and put on here. So this is the board as it currently looks. So I have my mood board on this side, and then I decided to keep half so big I can't actually see the camera, so I'm just gonna talk, not looking. So I've got the photographs on this side, and then I've kept the weekly planner on that side. I should have got a smaller pen board, it's so big. Basically what I thought was, because I'm gonna have this on the wall, there was quite a lot of space to fill, and I did have a think about, which I definitely think that you could do if you wanted to, is you could have like finances, travel, lifestyle, and like maybe a hobby that you have. You could divide up a board like that if you're also doing a pin board, or you could just do like different sheets of paper. I did think about doing that, and then to be honest, I thought that it was quite good just to have like what I want to achieve, and then the weekly planner of how I'm going to achieve it, which I'm going to fill in shortly. I've just divided it up Monday, Tuesday to Sunday, and then the weeks down the side, so I can always just cut out a new piece of paper and have the same format. And yeah, I love it so much. As I said, there are still some things that I want to add in. Like for example, there are some publications I want to add on here, and also some channels. So for example, I'd like to have like the YouTube logo on here, and so maybe some more like acting related things as well. But at the moment I'm really happy. It was what I could basically find from that specific copy of Vogue, and then anything else I'm going to print off online. But at the moment we've got like Condé Nast, Vogue, some photographs of like travel, so that's like a beautiful beach from a Chanel ad. Then we've got Los Angeles down here, skiing, more brands, some fashion, some beauty. We've got like a ton of things, and travel as well. I've also cut out some like sentences from the magazines as well, of like things that I really want. So for example, I've got like Hollywood, sustainability, the rise of the anti-perfect, perfection is the enemy. Those are huge ones for me that I want to get over this year. It's so easily the way like you want to do all these things, and then people's voices get in your head and you get concerned and you get worried about what people think about you. But to be honest, you have to just completely put that out of your mind. And I know it's easier said than done because I suffer from it as well. But you just have to do what you want to do and what you want to put on this board. You cannot be embarrassed or feel self-conscious about it, because it's your own private vision board and people are going to talk about you regardless of what you do. Especially having a YouTube channel or putting yourself on social media, you are opening yourself up to criticism. And this is definitely a topic for another day, which I could make a whole video about. But people will always have opinions about you, and there will be people that talk about you, and you just know that. Friends, family who maybe don't agree, all those kinds of things are going to happen, unfortunately, and there isn't anything you can do about that. All you can do is focus on what you want to achieve, and that's the whole point of manifesting. It's about you and what you want to achieve, and you can't let other people's opinions get in the way of that. Otherwise, you're never going to achieve what you want to achieve. Think of all those people who you might admire. I'm sure there's someone in the world who says, oh, I don't like X. You can't be liked by everyone. Getting back to my original point is just don't let other people's opinions get in the way of what you want. So put on here, honestly, what you want to achieve. If it is travel, like I've put on Los Angeles, like I would love to go to LA. I've never been. Don't worry about what people are going to say. Maybe someone's going to say, oh, I didn't really like Los Angeles. So what? Just go anyway. The list could go on. And you owe it to yourself to at least try. And if you never try, you'll never know. And I always think that if I reach the end of my life and I look back and think, oh, I never really gave that a shot. You know, I would be so disappointed. So I think whilst you're still young and you've still got time, just go and try and make everything happen for yourself, because you owe it to yourself. And that's the whole point. Just give it a go, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So on that note, I hope I've inspired you to do a vision board, really think about what it is that you want to achieve, and go out there and get it. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what else you'd like to see this year. And I will see you next week with a new video.